When the first European settlers arrived in the United States, they quickly discovered that life was not easy. They struggled to adapt to environments very different from those they were accustomed to in Europe. What many don't realize is that if it weren't for the Native Americans who essentially taught them how to live off the land by sharing their techniques for growing food and hunting, they would have had a hard time surviving. At that time, Native Americans encountered truly impressive animals. So, if you want to learn about the extinct animals that Americans might have seen, stay until the end because you don't want to miss the surprise at the end. Some Native American stories recall how solitary hunters were able to bring down adult bison using their strength. This may sound legendary, almost bordering on science fiction, but perhaps it wasn't a big deal for these hunters, considering that their ancestors had special interactions with extinct animals, facing these formidable creatures head-on. When it comes to size, ferocity, or sheer strangeness, scientists believe in the Paleo-Indians. On the other hand, Native Americans first arrived in America 30,000 years ago, entering a world dominated by many animals that are no longer around today. Some of these animals resembled creatures we still have today, while others became extinct while living in what is now the United States, though they can still be found elsewhere. The mystery of dozens of extinct animals is evident in how Native Americans managed to thrive alongside European settlers despite being in a hostile environment with fierce animals. But before we talk about these powerful species, let us tell you that the first animal to take the podium is a mammal, although it wasn't as cute as many believe. Car-sized armadillos. Although it looks more like a dinosaur than anything else, this is the Glyptotherium, which from a distance could be mistaken for some type of ankylosaur due to its extensive armor covering its body. But in reality, it was an armadillo. It belonged to the famous subfamily known as Glyptodonts. It was known for its size, which ranged from the height of a dog to the size of a small car. Incredibly, the Glyptotherium was among the largest animals, with adults measuring over 2 meters or 6.5 feet long and weighing as much as a male giraffe. Its heavy nature was mainly due to its giant carapace, which covered its body and was made up of numerous osteoderms, also known as bone plates. The domed armor was one of the signature characteristics of the Glyptodont, but it wasn't the only one. Its armor was much higher and thicker compared to others, sometimes being 8 times the thickness of the thickest shells today. The increased density gave the giant armadillo a significant boost in defense against predators, aided by the fact that its bone armor extended to its head and tail. This species could be found throughout Texas, Louisiana, Florida, and South Carolina about 15,700 years ago. There is evidence suggesting that the Glyptotherium was occasionally part of the Native American diet, with a fossil in Texas showing that humans partially consumed the specimen's osteoderms, while another site revealed numerous skulls that had all been similarly butchered. Not all animals that lived alongside Native Americans were fully grown, as evidenced by the dire wolf. Contrary to its name, it is suggested that dire wolves were actually not wolves, but something unique, a species of canid genus, scientifically known as Enochion, which were more closely related to jackals than anything else. Dire wolves were roughly the size of the largest recorded gray wolves, though they could possibly reach a maximum size of 110 kilograms or 243 pounds, making them the largest known canids. They also had a terrifying bite to match their size, thanks to a powerful jaw with adaptations similar to those seen in hyenas, leading dire wolves to possess a record-breaking bite force. A study found that they have the strongest bite of all canids. This formidable power in their jaws allowed them to bring down large prey, including horses, sloths, and bison, making their strength and bite even more deadly. It is believed that pack hunters, living in groups of 12 to 30 individuals, faced this menacing animal, dealing with it to defend their villages and drive it away from their territories. Thanks to their deadly bites, they became one of the most successful carnivores of the prehistoric era. Likewise, as seen in the La Brea tar pits, where there are 2,000 dire wolves, it shows that they enjoyed good reproductive capacity. The statistics are quite impressive, but also bring bad news, especially for humans who lived alongside them, as they would have had to compete for natural resources for their subsistence. Fortunately, there is no direct evidence of confrontations between the two. A bear the size of a Tyrannosaurus. However, for Native Americans, the Smilodon wasn't the greatest threat around, and I mean that literally. The largest predator they shared their environment with was a bear, the Arctodus, better known as the short-faced giant bear. So far, only two species of this bear are known, specifically the Arctodus priscus and the Arctodus simus, with the latter being the only one that lived alongside Native Americans in the United States until about 12,800 years ago. Arctodus simus was by far the larger of the two and also one of the largest bear species on the planet. Known as a carnivorous mammal, it probably weighed up to 957 kilograms, practically the bulk of some medium-sized theropods. Arctodus simus had an impressive structure, standing at eye level with humans when on all fours, but when standing on its hind legs, it reached 3.5 meters or 11 feet in height. The truth is, when it managed to stand on its two legs, it was literally a spectacle. Its appearance was intimidating, with a powerful skull, thick incisors, and canines. All this paints a rather terrifying picture, but it's possible that Arctodus wasn't as bloodthirsty as some believe. The famous mammoths and mastodons. The famous mammoths and mastodons were among the most prominent animals during prehistoric periods and even beyond. They were so widespread that it's highly likely several types of mammoths were seen in the United States, including woolly mammoths, pygmy mammoths, and the American mastodon. All these specimens were gigantic in size, except for the pygmy. The dwarf mammoth suffered from this syndrome due to limited space when stranded on the Channel Islands. But besides being gigantic, they were territorial animals that constantly rivaled modern elephants. The largest was the famous Columbian mammoth. These elephants had an impressive height and weighed over a ton. The most famous mammoth was Hefty, a giant weighing around 8 tons, quite similar in height to modern elephants. Meanwhile, American mastodons were among the smallest compared to other mammoths, measuring approximately 7 feet or 2.1 meters in height. However, they had incredible strength thanks to their robust build. They possibly weighed 80% more than elephants of the same height, occasionally weighing up to 11 tons, and also had very thick skin. It's important to mention that the remains of various types of mammoths have been found at multiple kill sites in the United States, specifically of young and adult specimens. Beavers the size of bears. This would be a possibly even more unique creature that Native Americans would have seen. We're talking about the giant beaver that lived in North America. Its size earned it the nickname of the giant beaver, which is appropriate considering the average adult measured almost 2 meters or 6.2 feet long, while some could reach up to 7 feet. Besides their large teeth, especially their incisors, which were the size of half a ruler from top to bottom, unlike modern beavers, the Castoroides had textured teeth. Another difference between this and its current relatives is the power in its lower jaw. This suggests a powerful bite that could have helped it cut and groove wood. It was also an elegant swimmer despite its size, well adapted for floating in the water. It had a longer tail and hind legs that allowed it to move quickly and comfortably in the water. Some studies have provided details about its diet, which consisted of aquatic plants and some terrestrial plants. In conclusion, there is little documented evidence of much contact with humans, so its extinction was likely due to a natural process rather than being hunted. We've reached the end of today's video. If you like this video, support us with a wonderful like and subscribe to our channel for more videos about the prehistoric world. So, which of these extinct animals impressed you the most? Which of these lived closest to the Native Americans? We'll be reading your comments. See you soon.